welcome to ICRs, the channel for artists and illustrators. In this video, we are illustrating the background for this illustration, and it's called Swimming with Manta Rays. I hope you will enjoy the process, and I will be sharing some tips and tricks that I use when I draw. We just have a little bit of details left here. I actually want to go ahead and color the manta rays for that reason, but to make our work easier, we can just first of all Google. I already Googled them, and they have interesting patterns, like the polka dots ones, but I don't want to use those. You see, it's not really like rounds, but it's pretty beautiful. But I am not sure if I want to use that since I already have those dots on my girl, on her dress. So I'm thinking, yeah, but we could try it out, you know? It never hurts to try. Basically, I have a baby one here, and nothing else on their tops except for some shadows and patterns. But let's go a little lighter and try out the patterns. So I will just make sure I have this grouped and rename it as a boat. Perfect. And now let's find where I actually do have those manta rays. Okay, so for some reason I have them on the same layer as the bag, but that's all right. So let's see if I am going to add those patterns, if it's gonna look good. I think it would. So guys, I was wrong. I'm gonna see which I will use just my creative pencil brush, make it a little bit bigger, and randomly, but with the idea of some sort of pattern, I might do this. Also, if I remember correctly, let me see, where is my sketch? Let's bring the sketch back. All right, see, I have this situation here, which I kind of really want to use. So I will turn my sketch to multiply mode. If you notice, I didn't do this in the beginning because normally I don't do it, but if we have a very dark color we're drawing on, we will not see the sketch, and thus making it to the multiply layer would help us greatly. So I do not want the manta rays to take really away from the girl. So I would do the dots, and then I probably would reduce their opacity, and maybe with a little bit of a different color, I would first go ahead, and we're already in the clipping mask here. I would draw, I would draw these lines for decoration. I'll try to follow my sketch, but still, we'll see if we could be a little bit freehand here, right? Okay, perfect. And I have one more, and I have this, see, some situation here. Let's get rid of it. Let's make sure he has really good looking edges. All right, so then where is this layer? Here you go. And just finish this guy up, or girl. No, we were doing so great before. Okay, so now let's go back here, increase the brush size. So if you do not have my brushes, of course, you could use the 6B pencil for this purpose here. It's pretty, you can find it in sketching, or actually any other brush that you like. I remember when I just first started, I really loved collecting brushes, and I forgot that my color was different here. I actually do still like, because sometimes when you've been drawing for quite some time using the same brushes, you don't want it to be boring, right? Because even with traditional materials, you would try new things, and you would try new brushes, you would buy new brushes, new pencils. So I believe the same thing could be done with digital. For me, I could make a new brush because these days I kind of have an idea of what I need in the brush, and this way I could make one. And actually that's what happened when I was making my brushes, because I wanted to draw the illustrations for children's books that could be textured, but this texture could be variable, so to say. It could be less or more with the very same brushes. And I could just say that I have mostly pencils here, um, even the brushes that change the color, and I have sort of like the noise brush and multi-liner I really, really like. I have some interesting brushes that are fun to use, like this one. It's a pretty cute texture that could be applied to certain things. And this one, I like it too. I mean, I have the fluffy one. So it's just a lot of experimenting this way, and I find it really cool when you have such an option. Also, I love that two people, if you give them one brush, they will use it differently, so their artwork will not look the same. And that's the beauty of it. And a lot of artists who've been in the illustration for quite some time, they will all tell you it really doesn't matter. oh, Really doesn't matter what brushes you are using, but it's up to you. I think experimenting is really cool, and the way you feel the brush. Like, for example, in the very beginning, I couldn't just draw with 6B pencil because, like, here I feel like more freedom when I move my brush, and before with 6B, just if I needed to do like some small circle and then fill it in, I struggled. But then I learned the brush settings, how they could be twisted and adjusted, and that really helped a lot because basically even any Procreate brush, the one that the basic brush you have, you could also adjust it. And if you think about it, a lot of brushes that are sold, they are somehow, I'd say, hybrids from those brushes. But I actually love to go around the house, pick up different textures, take a picture of them, and make the brush. I would probably, definitely make a video about how to make the brush. And if you have any questions, specifically anything you want to learn about brush making, that would be great because we could make it from anything. We could take a lipstick and make the brush. We could take some spices, pepper, sand. We could go outside, pick up some leaves, and be really, really creative. The question is whether you will be using those brushes in your work. But everything comes with from experiment. So just give it time. And as I always say, keep practicing and believe in yourself. To me, these are two most important things that you could follow if you want to be better in anything, if you want to develop pretty much any career. Because even if you think about like people, the runners, the swimmers, the way they begin their journey and the way it looks after a certain amount of time is very different. And illustration, drawing is the same thing. You do not need to be born with this talent. All right, so far I say I like it. I have an idea to maybe add some lines in here, but I don't think I would do it. Instead, I might continue the pattern here on their heads, but leaving this area blank. So we'll just see real fast how this would look. Yeah, I think that looks fine. It gives us something interesting. It breaks the pattern, and what if we have this situation, so to say, in our illustration, it's always good for the eye, makes it interesting. Sometimes when I'm working with details, I do need to tell myself, okay, Irina, this is it. You gotta stop. This is enough details because you just simply could get carried away. And to me, this type of work is like meditation because art for me was some sort of healing experience. That's why I actually began doing it. All right, and the baby one right here. Also, when you are illustrating something, do not forget about the rhythm. So to say like, I, first of all, don't have all the manta rays swimming in one direction. Second of all, I have them in different sizes, and that gives me a rhythm. So maybe I could have made actually this guy a little smaller, but I think I just want to feel the space in, so I like it. And while we're still at it, I don't know where I have the baby one here you go. We have it separately, so I will just create a clipping mask for him, and let's pick his color, make it darker, and just draw the eyes and the smile. Every time I illustrate something, I kind of really like doing something fun. Um, so every time I work with the client and I have an order which allows me to use this freedom and add a little funny moments, I love that. But of course, you need to always check because not everybody needs that. But my dream probably is to illustrate the book that's already like very, very funny and requires those moments. So maybe I should write it myself and illustrate it myself. I think I would also go ahead and do the round belly here, and then um, I would make a contrast by coloring the inside of his belly with a lighter color. So let me go under this layer. If you are sure, I'm doing everything on separate layers, so because I'm not like completely sure about certain things at the moment, but if you know that you're done with a certain layer, you could go ahead and just flatten it. I would also, again, under the line layer, I would add a little light and shadow. So with the darker color, I would go ahead and I could either pick my charcoal shade brush, or you could find, it's called noise brush, or I could use the shader. There's actually also a brush that resembles, so to say, this brush. I actually saw this somebody using similar brush, and I was like, oh, okay, I have to make it. I made it, and then when I was looking for the brush to guys offer you, I was actually surprised. So actually is my word apparently today. I was surprised that Procreate has a similar brush. I don't know why. It's, again, I'm saying if you just got the program and right away you want to run and buy brushes, it's not what I'm advertising. I love my brushes. If you like how they look and you want to support me, you could get them. But you could do amazing things with just basic Procreate brushes. Although, if you're an illustrator and you want to sort of put your um, ideas you even more to illustrations, of course you could create your own brushes. And I now think that I want to go with some pink color and maybe do, as I call them, rosy cheeks. What, that's too rosy. Probably let's go make it a little bit, okay, that's too rosy and big. Let's go. All right, so do we like it? I think we do. So we have something funny and we like it, but I think it's still too bright, too bright. We don't want it to be too bright. Okay, this is better. Not that annoying, I'd say. All right, guys, I have been experimenting here. So I have added the pink dots, and I kind of like them because now we have a little bit similarities between the girl and the manta rays. And what I really think I should do is I have used a soft brush with a blue layer and I applied it on top of the manta rays, as you could see, because um, logically they would be underwater. And see, this is like without the this layer and just a little bit, so it would reduce their opacity. And what we're gonna do is also would not take so much attention from the girl, since she's the focal point in my illustration. So I like that. Now, getting back to the topic of the variety of different brushes, we could just go ahead and take a look at, for example, the shadow. So let me choose this layer, make it darker. We are going to apply the shadow right now. So for example, I could use my soft brush. There is the basic soft brush in Procreate. I just made my own settings there, so it's maybe something in between soft and medium brush. And just let's see how the soft shadow is going to look. See, it looks like this. I love this shadow. I would definitely keep the shadow here. Not so much here though, because we might add shadow onto the girl later. And I think it could also be a good idea to add the shadow and under the manta rays, because this way it will bring him up a little bit, and it will look better, I think. So I would choose the same eraser reduce the size of the eraser because this is too thick. So basically that I could do that. And now in comparison to this, let's get rid of this layer and choose, for example, the shader brush, and just applying the, the shadow with the shader brush. So to make it more even, we will not have it this big. And see, I believe that for the shadow, I could go a little darker. And we have us another shadow, but it's very textured, like hatching technique in with the pencil. And we could do the same thing under the manta rays, not this much, but a little bit. It will also bring them out. And it would depend entirely on your preference, not even necessarily on style, because I could easily use both methods depending on just my mood at a certain point. Like, what do I want to use? So I see now that perhaps for the manta rays, I would go with a soft brush, but to show the shadow under the boat, I could easily go with this brush because it is textured and I like how it looks this way. Also, maybe you could add a little bit here to bring the hair out. All right, and now let's choose the soft brush and basically get back, bring this layer back and remove the shadow. So obviously the shadow with any textured brush similar to this um, shader would be not as visible, right? Not as strong as with the soft brush. So let me just finish the shadows under the manta rays, and I am now trying to brainstorm some ideas of how I want to do the water in here, because again, I do not want it to be very detailed, since I want us to pay all attention to the girl. And what we forgot to do is to make the manta rays with some shadow and light. So for that purpose, I would get rid of this layer, the one that's on top of them, and under all the dots and all the lines with, again, just any brush. See, I'm going to show you right now how the shader brush would work. It would give us this little dots. Again, this is the noise brush if you want to try the basic Procreate brush. And I would work around the edges, and just in comparison, sometimes you did something and you're thinking, should it be darker? You could just go to brightness and reduce the brightness. This way it would make the artwork either darker or lighter. Similarly, I really like to work with saturation sometimes, and sometimes you like looking at the artwork, you don't like the color, you could move this around. This will give you many different colors, especially when they're not as dark as this one, as dark. Okay, so I think I'm good with this. I would just continue adding it on the other guys. I don't want to go crazy with the details here, so if I did, let me know. Let me know. If, say, I were to just draw manta rays, I could probably go really crazy, make them very magical looking with some luminosity. Actually, luminosity might be a good touch. But I don't know. I just have it in my head that I want the girl to be like, then you look at the girl, and then I have a little bit of a story here on the sketch. I have the note that we see that fell out of her bag, or she just looked at it, and we have flowers laying down next to her, so that she's probably in love. So and she has a note that would say, I love you. I don't know, we could even put I miss you or whatnot. What we could do is, let me find the lines, and I am now thinking I could make the lines a little brighter like that. Okay. Again, magic of digital illustration. And let me bring back this layer so they're not that bright. Okay, so we're good here. What do you guys want to do now? Now I am thinking that I would go ahead and work on the bag right here. But to work on the bag, we need to go back to the sketch. And for some reason, again, my bag is in the same place where the manta ray. So I'm going to choose this color. I already have it in multiply mode and with just regular brush of mine, I would do the lines through the opening, because until I, do them without the sketch, we cannot really understand what's going on here in this bag. Similarly here, I could do this because this area is like a fold. It's down there. Okay. And I have a clipping mask, so I won't be able to draw this. But maybe I'm thinking right now I could add like clasp to the bag, something like that. Yep, I like it. Something like this looks fine for me. Okay, I have this here. You know what? I'm probably gonna go and use a regular studio pen. That's the custom Procreate brush, and I would draw this things under this layer like this. What I'm seeing right now is when I was working on the lines, I had extra, so I will remove it like this. Okay, so now let's go back and finish this part of the bag here. Okay, where am I? Okay, here I'm having this. All right, I'm sorry guys for the confusion. I just don't know why I didn't do it right away. Should have done it right away. Okay, and the same thing we see here when we were doing those lines, that we need to just erase a little bit here and a little bit here. Here. We have to erase a few things. Okay, now I love how the bag looks like. I would just go ahead and real fast add some shadows to it. So basically under the layer with all the lines, even if I have something on it, that's fine. I could add some shadow, and it doesn't really matter which brush I'm going to use, I think, because it won't be a lot. I will put some shadow here perhaps, and a little here, and then in the very same layer I will put some light. Maybe not that light, like this, because bag is not that important. What I noticed right now is I have the inside of my bag, which is supposed to be colored, of course, in some darker color, because when you look inside your bag, it's darker than the color of your bag, obviously. It's inside, it's dark there, all important things are there, or not, whatever we are carrying in our bags. Okay, love it. Now I would pick some red, like really red, because I believe I really want this to be very much visible. And I don't know, here we go. Here I have my note, and I would just, I would draw it myself, but we could also type, but it's pretty small. So we could just, let's draw this first and then we'll see how it looks. I love you. You. Okay. And this looks good. I love it. What I sometimes do, see here, I have a little bit the lines from the sketch, so I might go ahead and just with regular alpha lock and even the same brush, I could add the same gray layer to my paper or postcard or whatever it is. So it's a paper. Good. Now, I might add a little bit. Actually, I probably won't. Maybe I shouldn't. I just want to add a little bit more to the bag. So in terms of some decorations, maybe a little bit more texture, and some texture that's way lighter. Okay, like this. Love it. Now here I see I have my flowers, which I haven't finished, and it's probably going to take me some time to finish them. First of all, let's see which green color I want to use. I'm thinking let's go with this green. I'm not sure though, because, so for now, let's just merge some layers down, because why wouldn't we, right? Let's see, that obviously is supposed to be flattened. That's her belt. We could also flatten it with the, sometimes see, like I have it here, I have two layers which do not touch, which is some part of her hair and the belt. I could also, if you're out of layers, I could also go ahead and make them flat so they could be together. Now I would, so it's easier for me, I would just group this too because they have a bunch of things here. They have manta ray, I have manta rays here, shoes in the bag, so a lot of things. And let's just go ahead and we just need to do it on top of the boat. This is, I'm going to rename as a skin. Okay. And on top of, okay, 81M. 81M it is. Skin, please. Okay. So on top of the boat, I will make a new layer and we could use any brush really. Maybe I would use the one from my sketch. So now let's see. I have this green color and just real fast I'm going to show you that it's a bad color because we will not see it at all. Even if I make it bigger, we will not see it at all on our boat. So this color, we need this way brighter, something like this. This way, it will be easy for us to see it, but this may be too bright, so I would say something like this. Now let's go ahead and turn it off and see what color it's suggesting us. I'm not sure I love it very much, but let's just try. Let's try. It's an interesting color to work with. So it was this color, I believe. Yeah, this color. I would just go ahead and make my brush a little bigger and work on the flowers. I'm trying to follow my sketch. So I will only add right now the dark parts for the wheat. And where am I? Probably on top, right? Okay, right here on the very top, I would just add this. So it would be better understood what it is. And I wouldn't really apply any shadow color, just probably on the stems of this flowers, of this really nice bouquet from field flowers. I used to actually gather a lot of flowers from the field during summer times in the countryside with my grandma. It was her house and we spent the whole summer there and I liked it. Believe it or not, I liked it. It was boring so often, but it taught me something that I really, until this day, I'm never really bored with just myself because I kind of know how to occupy myself, what to occupy myself with. I don't know, maybe it was in me, so it was easier for me to do it. But that's just what I was thinking throughout my childhood. All right, so um, perhaps the only other thing is I have a little flower here. I would add something like this, even though there's flowers that don't really look exactly like what I'm doing right now, but it's okay. It's just some accents. And somehow I forgot to add the lines to this one. Let's add them. Okay. Right now, let's perhaps add a little shadow where we have the tie for this bouquet. So with the clipping mask and a little bit of a darker color, and for this case, doesn't really matter, maybe even a soft brush, I could add something like that. Maybe not that wide though, here, like this. Okay, so what do we think? I think I love it. I think it looks good. Right now, what I see that on my boat, where I have this bouquet, I need to add a little bit more shadow. I also need to add a little bit more shadow where I have a note. So let's get back to the boat layer, figure out where I have all my shadows, and perhaps in a new layer, we need to first figure out the right color. And this would even add more contrast to the green flowers. So, okay, see, it gave us a little bit more volume here. Now it looks like the bouquet belongs to the boat, so to say. Okay, and here I also wanted to show you something that I'm not going to do it, but it's a good idea and it's good to know how to do it. Say she is sort of like sailing under this tree, and we could add this scenario when we have some shadow on her, falling on her from the tree. So, whoop, that's my cat. There are various ways of doing this. So I would just choose the color that would be the color of the tree, so greenish, and let's say the shadow would fall on maybe like half of the boat and half of her body, something like that. Okay, and then I would reduce the opacity like this. So it already sort of tells us, right, that oops, where am I? That she's in the shadow. You could reduce the opacity as much as you want, but then, for example, we have some leaves that sometimes this beautiful light that could be made on her face. Then we will click on mask, and mask would give us an option right now to erase and get rid of the shadow. And for just some beautiful shadow light, maybe you could just pick any brush, but I think soft brush, and I don't like this very bad pattern in here. We could just add some strokes like this, which would tell us that she's under the shadow, but some light is still falling on her face. So you do this, and the only way to do this would be um, with a clipping mask and layer mask. See? So if I turn it off, we will get back to the shadow, and if I turn this completely, it will turn the shadow completely. So I like how it looks like. It makes the illustration a little bit more interesting this way. And when I'm talking about erase with the soft brush, you just choose the soft brush in your eraser with your eraser brush here like this. So I'm just showing you how this could possibly be different lighting scenario. And if you like it, you could use it. But for me, I think, especially like for the internet, I would definitely leave this option. I won't delete it, but I just want it to be brighter. I see, guys, it's been a long tutorial, and I just really want to share with you everything I do here, however I do here, and yeah, maybe you'll get inspired from it, because when I watch somebody draw something, their tutorials, what it really does for me, it makes me feel so inspired and motivated that I automatically start having different ideas in my head. So I will not really go crazy with this tree. I would just perhaps add some texture um, to it, and that's it, because I do not want it to sort of be very detailed and take a lot of attention from the girl. So I would maybe add a few lines to it, and then I would add shadow and some light and add some texture. So because when the objects are textured, they are pretty detailed already as they are. Since we are adding texture, our eye sees the texture, so it's like a very big detail in this case. So I would add this. Okay, right now I see that I could go ahead and make this lighter. Yes, yep, as light as this. And I would go ahead and perhaps, no, maybe I would, no. That's the process, guys. No, maybe no. Just want to chaotically add something like this. Let's see if we like it. Do we like it? Yeah, I am actually fine with that. Now let's go a little darker, and on the layer under this layer, I would add the shadow. Let's see if I use the shader brush, how that's gonna look like. Not gonna look like, because we need to make it darker, and I forgot. And maybe even darker, and maybe bigger brush in this case. Okay. So I'm okay with this shading brush in here. So let's do this. We're experimenting again. This is probably not a final version, and we don't have a clipping mask. And we're actually applying the whole thing on the wrong layer. Oh my gosh. All right, so don't repeat my mistakes. Also, I think in this case, digital can give us so much freedom because we could just not be afraid to do things that we think that might work. And if they don't, then we could just get rid of it. See, I don't like this, so I'm gonna clear this layer. And maybe I don't even like what I've done with the texture in terms of shade. Maybe I would go with my different textured brush and apply different texture because that texture is still a little bit too much. And you know what I did? I just also erased the layer with the lines. Gosh, I'm trying to be fast and see where it got me. Okay, so I like this texture so far, and I would add a darker shadow going in here. I want to have it like maybe a little bit round, like a vignette situation. Okay, so and let's just do this line that we already added and I erased it for no apparent reason, and we'll be probably done with this tree. I do not want to work anymore on this tree. I'm pretty fine with this texture. It somewhat resembles leaves in my opinion. So far, I'm thinking we just need to work on the water. I have a few ideas here. Maybe if we go with a little bit of a darker color, and where is my water here? What is this? Let's see. Sometimes I have a habit of making layers that, and then not drawing anything on them. Let's start with the soft brush, and maybe I would add some corners like this to make our illustration this way. I think now I like this idea, but it was a little too much. So perhaps like this, it it works as a frame, I would say. Let's try to do some Gaussian blur so it's not that much. Okay. It also gives us some depth. I don't know if you would agree with me or not. I'm not sure if I agree with myself yet too. I'm just trying to experiment here. Now we need to add some water texture, obviously. The easiest thing we could do if we want to draw water, we could go to elements, click water here. We have oceans here too. This would give us more of like straight lines like this. And let's just draw them as much as we can here. Um, I would use I would really use this brush for water and won't think twice. What sometimes we could do is just to bring out some contrast, we could draw some darker lines, but this kind of looks dirty to me, so maybe some this blue, and we could add a little bit like that. And in my opinion, this is already a pretty decent water surface. What do you say, guys? So this is one option I have. Another option is if we choose water instead of ocean, and with the same white brush, make it large enough for your surface, we could use this. It's more of a marble effect, and it kind of looks very cool. I love it. So and again, similar to that with the darker color under it, to bring out some contrast, we could go darker and just basically see which option you like best. I have also another option that we could use that is like a little bit more creative, I'd say, is with a brush that is either, let me show you, there is a brush that is similar to my brush, and it's in the original brushes somewhere. It's probably in painting. It's not in painting. It's in drawing, perhaps. Yeah, it's a copperhead brush. This brush has very, very soft, like not even edges. And my brush, the one I have is a multi-liner. It has it's like multiple 6B texture brush. And we could try and go ahead and use make our water somewhere like these lines. It also will add a lot of fluidity, I think, because we're drawing our lines this way. And honestly, I don't think it looks so bad, right? I think it looks fine. And similarly to that, we could also add under this layer, we could add some darker lines. But in this case, maybe we would definitely need to reduce opacity by by a lot. By, yes. Reduce the opacity a lot. Okay, so this is just a creative way of doing it. Another idea probably with this brush would be to do like smaller, let me find it, like smaller strokes, and just also make them more organically flowing. So it's up to you. It's completely up to you which surface for your water you are going to choose. I am thinking right now that I would go ahead and use this. The reason being is that it kind of gives me like I see more balance because the lines are more like horizontal looking. And when I look at the one with the marble effect, I believe it's kind of like all over the place and it makes my illustration busier than it should be. So if we're talking about these brushes, I say this would be my choice. And right now, once we added these brushes, this sort of vignette shadow situation looks pretty good, don't you think? And we can even try and see if we could make it darker, if it's going to make our illustration better. Maybe not by much, not by much. Okay, so this is kind of it. I feel like if we right now check the illustration as far as hues go, when we look at it, we clearly see the water. We see the girl clearly. We see her face mostly. Every single, like her hair is also pretty well distinguished compared to the water. We see the node. We see the flowers. So the story kind of blends. The manta rays work like such a beautiful frame. And the tree is also like a part of the frame here. I also want to show you something else because we applied at first our water texture under manta rays, right? And it looks like this. I kind of like it, but if you want it to be more natural, so to say, the texture is supposed to be on top of them. And for this reason, you would just need to apply carefully, and whatever is overlapping the boat, just erase it. And what I did is I reduced the opacity because originally it would be like this, and this way I don't really like it. So I reduced the opacity and I added a little bit more white where there are no manta rays. So it's up to you, whatever option works best. You know, I actually gave you a lot of options already. We can even find our layer here, which is see on top of the manta rays, and I love it this way because again it looks more natural. We could bring the shadow back to the girl, so a lot of things could be done, and you just choose really the route you want to take, the route you want to go. So far I am thinking, I don't know, I'm not decided. I think I like when it goes under them more. This way I love that we see manta rays more. And if I do too much, this is too much. Okay, so let's leave it under for now. And I'd say we're actually done with our illustration here. Again, it's completely up to you what options you're choosing. So my job here is to show you various options, and I would just finish it up adding my brush to it on some separate layer, and I'm done. So this was actually part of the last days of summer 2024 challenge we hosted on Instagram, and the prompt was swimming with manta rays. So she's not literally swimming, but she is in the boat with them, and that's just where my inspiration took me. So this is just where inspiration took me, and I just had an idea again to try out and maybe add more texture to the tree so we could see more leaves, but very stylized, and to continue um, these shapes I have over there. Um, I don't know if I like it, but I might like it. What do you think? I really, usually I'm trying to stick to whatever I know how I would do when I have a video like this, but today with you guys, I didn't do it. I just really showed you my process as it goes, how sometimes I could try things out, they wouldn't work, and I'm sure you follow the same process when you illustrate things, and that's the beauty of it. And I'm not really afraid and shy to show it to you. I would never say that I do everything from the first shot or I'm like very good at doing everything. I am not. Sometimes I know that things look off and I would spend my time to make them look better. And what really helps in this case, honestly, would be to just drop everything and then go back to work a little later after I cleared my mind a bit. Well, right now I really have to finish it and I don't have this option. So I'm just trying things out. And if you see that there were like better decisions I could have taken or suggestions, or maybe you share your own experience and approach to things, I would greatly appreciate it. Um, yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I wouldn't go all the way, only where supposedly it's like lighter color. If you have any questions about something I have mentioned, or maybe suggestions on what videos I need to make more, maybe some lighting and shadows, some layers and like typical basic Procreate settings, I would be really happy to do that. I hope you enjoyed my work, my process, and it inspired you. I'm wishing you all the best on your creative journey, and I will see you in my next video. There is a new video on my channel every Thursday. I either draw or talk or answer your questions. And if you like this video, please put the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you later. Just believe in yourself and practice. Don't forget that.